I want to start with South Africa. Both my parents are South African, and yeah, and I know this movie doesn't deal with happiness necessarily in South Africa, but it deals with families dealing with the apartheid and the impacts of that. Can you talk a little bit about the story and the plot?
Yes, but it deals with hope too. By the way, of course the story takes place in South Africa, but I wanted to make it universal. It's the way that how a community lives with the trauma of the past. Usually a community is linked by the big events of history. Most of the time they are tragic events. All these tragic events, they wound everybody. But when the whole community is wounded, everyone hasn't the same pain. And everyone has to deal with his own pain, and you don't particularly share the pain of your neighbor, and you don't even understand it, and you're also powerless in trying to explain what you feel. So that's the way people have to live together after such events.
With a character that comes from the outside into that community and impacts it, can you talk a bit about that? That really gives the spark to the film.
You mean Emily Mortimer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Yes. By the way, in the film, Emily Mortimer is a young woman who falls in love with a man who runs a big farm, who is very wealthy, and so they married, and she decided to follow him to where he lives. She isn't used to this kind of life, which is a rural life. This part of South Africa isn't very well known. Even most of my crew, they didn't know the place at all. I knew it better than they did because I spent 6 weeks by my own there writing the script. Wow. Yes, because first of all, I started to work on the script in France at home. Then I made the first trip to South Africa. I came back. I worked with an English co-writer. Then I went back again to South Africa for these different stayings for the writing in South Africa. I've driven 10,000 kilometers, something like 7,000 miles, meeting a lot of people, taking time, a lot of backstories which are in the script and in the movie are true stories which come from people who told me things about their own life. And all the apartheid facts come from several facts which happen here and there, and I rebuilt a story as I rebuilt also the area, because I had 4 different places of shooting. Everything is supposed to happen in the same area, which is approximately, I would say, 30 miles away, one point to another one, but I had 300 miles from a place to another one.
Wow.
So I recreated this area. That's why also Ladygrey, the real Ladygrey, is in Eastern Cape, and the Ladygrey I've recreated is in KwaZulu-Natal.
Wow, that's so crazy. I'm curious, today you got to be a part of a panel that dealt with cinematography, and your cinematographer, Nigel, has done some massive work for the Lord of the Rings, and was part of the big projects, but what was the terrain like in South Africa shooting-wise? And for your touch, what did you want the film to look like?
Oh, big question, because when I've been cinematographer myself for 20 years, I did a lot of movies, and very different kind of movies, big budgets, low budgets, and I wanted to share with my cinematographer a way of approaching people. The nature is a character in the story, but I didn't want to make any kind of aesthetic or panoramic shot to describe the landscape, because that's not what is in the story. In the story, the people, they live in a huge, massive, beautiful landscape, but they don't watch at it every minute. They belong to it. So the landscape has to be present. But I never wanted to make any difficult movements just to show the beautiful mountain, the beautiful river, and then the beautiful actor. No, I really wanted to pretend to be simple, which wasn't simple at all. Simplicity is something you really have to work a lot about. Trying to be simple, and so I said to Nigel, all is about people, about the actors, about the characters, and I will never judge them. Even the very bad guy, played by Liam Cunningham, I want to be able to like him, whatever he's done, because who knows? Who knows what yourself would have done in that situation? You never know. So it's sometimes very difficult to judge people, particularly when you come from another country with another backstory, And so I wanted to give a sense of simplicity of the way of filming, which is really a big job.
It's hardest to do sometimes.
Yes.
Well, Alain, thank you so much for talking to us. We'll actually talk a little bit more tomorrow, a little bit more intimately. So I hope the Dallas audiences love the film.
Yes, so will I. Okay.
Thank you for bringing it to Dallas.